Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Tower of God New World. In today's video, we will be checking out the brand new SSR Plus character Escanor, and overall he has to be the most insane tank unit in the game. But before I get started on the video, make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it. And if you guys are new here on the channel, I have a Discord server, so if you guys are interested in joining, you can join the server by going to my channel description. I'll put the server link there, and I'll also post a server link in the comment section down below. But anyways, let's not waste any time. Let's hop right into the video. Alright, so I was able to bring my Escanor up to 3 blue stars. After I finished my summon video, I did a little bit more summon, then I was able to get a few more copies of him. So far this unit is absolutely broken. He is cracked. He is literally the best tank in the game, and I'm literally going to explain why. So I was able to get all of his equipment maxed out. I was able to get level 4 exclusive equipment as well, and then I also got his ignition weapon. But first things first, let's go ahead and talk about his skills. So I wasn't able to talk about his skills because, of course, I wasn't able to talk about the kit reveal because, you know, Netmarble didn't drop the kit reveal for these characters early, and I wasn't able to cover it yesterday. So let's go ahead and talk about his kit. So first thing we have here is his passive, which is called Sunshine. Escanor creates a solar zone around himself at the start of the battle. The zone deals 60% of his attack as damage every second to enemies inside it and decreases their attack by 15%. So right off the bat, this is absolutely busted, and the reason why this is insane is because as long as the enemy is inside the zone, they're going to deal less damage, and on top of that, they're going to take damage from the zone. So this zone that he creates is really big, so a lot of enemies can get inside that zone. So this is just already broken. And then we move down even further. It says the zone increases physical resistance and magic resistance of all allies inside it, including himself, by 15% and max HP by 15%. So if your allies are inside the zone, it's going to increase their physical and magic resistance and also their max HP as well, including himself. And it says, in addition, Escanor grows in size when the clock hits noon, 35 seconds after the start of the battle. So after 35 seconds, he's going to grow in size after 35 seconds. He then becomes invincible for 3 seconds and increases his max HP by 30%, attack by 30%, defense by 30%, and all effect coefficients of Solar Zone by 1.5 times until the end of the battle. In addition, the first time Escanor takes fatal damage in battle, Escanor becomes invincible for 3 seconds and burns up his life energy to pull in enemies every second and decrease their movement speed by 75% for 3 seconds before finally dying. So his passive is just absolutely insane because not only does he have a zone that is going to decrease enemy attacks and also deal damage, he also has this thing called he basically, when the clock hits noon, he's going to receive a huge buff, which is going to allow him to become invincible for 3 seconds. He's going to get 30% max HP increase, 30% attack increase, and also 30% defense increase. And the effect coefficient of his solar zone is going to be increased by 1.5 times until the end of the battle. And then on top of that, when he dies, he's going to be invincible for 3 seconds, and then he's going to reduce enemies movement speed by 75%. So his passive, there's just so many things going on in his passive, and he's almost similar to Flight Eric Mazno. When Flight Eric Mazno dies, he's basically going to stun everybody in the battlefield, but for Escanor, when he dies, he's just going to suck everyone in and lower their movement speed. So that's pretty much his passive. Now when we look at his active skill, Cruel Sun, Escanor becomes immune to status effects and launches a Cruel Sun at where the enemies are most concentrated. Upon hitting the ground, the Cruel Sun pulls enemies in and explodes to deal 600% of his attack as damage to enemies in range. He then decreases their movement speed by 50% for 5 seconds. So in this active skill, you have movement speed decrease, and you also have movement speed decrease in the passive as well. So far we have movement speed decrease in 2 of his skills, which is insane. He's basically going to make the enemy as slow as possible. And then when we look at his next active, it's called Swing. Escanor laughs loftily for 3 seconds, provoking nearby enemies. Provoking basically means taunt. He then swings his Sacred Axe Rita to deal 480% of his attack as damage to provoked enemies, Escanor's critical hit resistance increases by 30% while provoking enemies. So this active skill is really important because this active skill basically gives him the opportunity to taunt enemies and deal a ton of damage to the enemies he taunted. And he also gets that critical hit resistance increase as well. And then this, for the special move, we have Divine Sword Escanor. This special move is absolutely broken. Escanor becomes immune to status effects and slashes down slowly with the blade of his hand, dealing 750% of his attack as damage, which always results in critical hits, stunning for 3 seconds. So this special move is always going to have a crit hit. It's going to have a guaranteed crit hit. And on top of that, the damage that he can deal with this special move is absolutely insane. So this special move is really cracked. And it says Escanor's physical pierce increases by 30% when using this attack. So not only is he's going to get a guaranteed crit hit with this special move, he's also going to get a physical pierce increase when he uses Divine Sword Escanor. So far his kit is just absolutely cracked. I feel like literally everything in his kit works perfectly. His passive makes him busted. This active skill right here, Cruel Sun, is insane because he's lowering enemies movement speed, which makes them really slow. And then this right here basically allows him to taunt enemies, and for special move he deals a ton of damage, and he's also able to stun enemies for 3 seconds. So far Escanor's kit looks absolutely insane. Now let's go ahead and talk about his exclusive equipment. So this is where things start to get crazy. Level 1, the time it takes until noon for sunshine decreases by 5 seconds. So when we look at his skill, when we look at sunshine, we come down here, it says, in addition, Escanor grows in size when the clock hits noon, 35 seconds after the start of the battle. So when you get his level 1 exclusive equipment, it's going to go from 35 seconds to 30 seconds. And then when we look at his level 2, it says the time it takes until noon for sunshine decreases by an additional 5 seconds. So for level 1, it goes from 35 seconds to 30 seconds, and then for level 2, it goes from 30 seconds to 25 seconds. And then for level 3, the solar zone created by sunshine decreases the HP recovery of enemies inside it by 50%. And for level 4, the time it takes until noon for sunshine decreases by an additional 10 seconds. So you went from 35 seconds to 30 seconds, and then you go from 35 seconds to 30 seconds, then from 30 seconds to 25, and then you get an additional 10-second decrease, which is going to be 15 seconds. So when you reach level 4 exclusive equipment, it's going to take him 15 seconds to reach the to basically get the 3 buffs, like the invincibility buff, HP buff, attack buff, and defense buff. So the exclusive equipment is absolutely insane because it basically reduces the amount of time it takes for him to reach that form, the 1 form. And yeah, it's just overall insane. So that's pretty much his exclusive equipment. Now let's go ahead and talk about his ignition weapon. So the best set that you want to put on Escanor is going to be the defense set. This is going to be the provocation set, and the reason why this set is good for him is because it's going to increase his defense by 40% until the end of the battle, and that is basically good for his survivability. And then for the 4-piece set effect, it says upon a successful provocation, 30% of the wielder's max HP is restored, and physical resistance and magic resistance are increased by 8% until the end of the battle, and you get max 5 stacks. So this set works perfectly with him because he has provocation in his kit. He's able to taunt enemies, so he'll be able to proc this 4-piece set effect. So this is literally the best set for him. If you're trying to look for like another set that you want to put on Escanor, I'll say the Runda. This set right here is also pretty good because it's going to increase his max HP, and it's also going to provide a barrier, which is really nice. So this isn't a really bad set for him because it's also going to increase his defense as well. So this is actually pretty decent for Escanor. But if you are wondering, which set is best in slot for him, it is going to be the defense set. This set is 100% going to be the best set for Escanor. This is just the best one for him. Now let's go ahead and talk about stats. So there's like a lot of stats that you want to put on Escanor because he's a very complex character, and there's like so many stats that he works with and he scales with, because in order for him to do a lot of damage, You want like a decent amount of attack, and then for him to survive, you want some HP and defense. So there's like a lot of things that you have to put on Escanor in order for it to work. So first things first, let's talk about all the stats that you want to put on Escanor. So HP, really important on Escanor because it's going to increase his survivability. Attack is basically going to increase his damage output, is going to increase the amount of damage he can deal towards enemies, because all of, like, when we look at his kit, his skills, like everything you see right here scales off of attack. So giving him some attack as well is going to be really beneficial. And then defense is also pretty good because that's going to increase his survivability. It says affects the amount of damage taken when hit by enemies, so defense is also really good. Critical hit rate, you don't really have to worry about critical hit rate because his special move is a guaranteed crit, I'm pretty sure. If we go back right here, yeah, his special move is a guaranteed crit, so you mostly want to try to get a lot of crit damage so that he can deal a bunch of damage when he does his special move. Critical damage reduction, not bad because it's going to reduce the amount of crit he can receive from the enemy. Accuracy is extremely important because you want him to actually land his attack when he does his special skill, because he's also able to spam his special skill. Like, he can literally use Divine Sword Escanor multiple times, so accuracy is really important on him. And then evasion, extremely important because evasion is going to increase his survivability and is going to allow him to dodge enemies. And swiftness also isn't bad either because it's going to increase the amount of times he's going to use his skills and also his basic attacks as well. Magic and physical resistance, really important because it's going to increase the amount of damage you can take from enemies who can do magic or physical damage. And magic pierce, do not put magic pierce on Escanor because Escanor is not a magic character, he is a physical character, so don't put magic on him. So you definitely want to put some physical pierce on him because when he does his special skill, he gets like a 30% physical pierce increase, but getting some more physical pierce isn't that bad, so you want to get some more physical pierce on him so that he can do more damage with his special skill. And then effect hit isn't bad because it's going to allow him to basically place debuffs on the enemy. Let's say movement speed decrease, also stunning, like that's basically effect hit, so you want to put like a decent amount of effect hit on him. And effect resistance is also not that bad because it's going to allow him to basically nullify enemies debuff. Like, if let's say the enemy is trying to stun Escanor, if you have a decent amount of effect resistance, is going to be immune to that. So those are pretty much all the stats that you want to worry about for Escanor. It's a lot of stats, but those are like the core stats when it comes to Escanor's kit and basically allowing him to stay alive. Now, for report, you want to make sure that you get that level 6 report so you can get the 100 accuracy. Accuracy and evasion, really important on him, so you want to get those as well. So that's pretty much Escanor's kit. Now let's go ahead and talk about how many copies you need on him. So a lot of people are wondering, how many copies do you need on Escanor in order for him to be absolutely insane? So right now I have him at 3 blue stars, and you really want him to get at least 3 blue stars or 3 purple stars. And the reason why is because 3 blue stars is going to allow him to take less damage against green element units because green element is stronger than blue element. So if you don't have the 3 blue star, he's going to take a bunch of damage from green element units. So this is definitely going to allow him to get a little bit more survivability and take a lot of damage from green element units. And then for the 3 purple stars, it's really good for him because he'll be able to take a lot of damage because of that additional defense. So the if you want to get, like, if you literally want to save your suspendum and you only want to invest a little bit into Escanor, you want to get at least 3 blue stars on him. If you don't have 3 blue stars on him, he's going to be insane, but he's not going to be like broken. Like, I feel like he's absolutely insane once you reach 3 blue stars, and then once you reach 3 purple stars, he's just ridiculous. So the minimum is 3 blue stars, and I'll say the maximum is probably 3 purple stars. And if you can get more, he's going to be crazy because he can get that HP percent increase, and you can also get that battle star energy increase when you reach max rainbow stars. So that's pretty much Escanor. And I tested out this character. I tested him out in arena simulation. I did so many testing for this character, and bro, this character is absolutely broken. So let's go ahead and test him out. All right, so the best team that you want to put with Escanor is, I feel like Blue Element team is 100% really good for him, because Blue Element is going to increase his attack overall, so that's going to allow him to do a lot more damage. And pairing him up with Meliodas and Elizabeth is really good. Now, I don't have my Elizabeth and Meliodas built yet. I'm still working on them. Out of all the 3 collab units, only Escanor is built. That's pretty much why I'm making this video on him. So after I got my Elizabeth and Meliodas built, I'll definitely make videos on both of them. But this is arena simulation, and this team is absolutely insane. And the reason why is because Elizabeth, she's really good with Escanor, because she's basically she can also heal. You really want to pair Escanor up with a unit that can pretty much heal, because if you don't have a healer on a team, Escanor can die pretty quickly. So you want to put him with a healer so that he can stay alive, and when he's able to stay alive, he's just going to deal a lot of damage, and he's also going to provoke the enemy a lot, which is going to increase your team's overall survivability. And the reason why I put Flight Eric Mazino in this team is because Flight Eric Mazino, he can increase, I'm pretty sure he can increase the team's physical and magic resistance. I'm pretty sure if I look over here, yes, it says Mazino creates a barrier equal to 800% of his attack for himself for 10 seconds and a barrier equal to 200% of his attack for nearby allies for 10 seconds. So he can basically provide a barrier to everybody on the team. Now I forgot which part, I think I'm wrong here, but I think he does provide additional magic or physical resistance. I might be wrong here, but he's able to provide that barrier to your whole team, which is really good. So that's going to increase your team's overall survivability, and he's a blue element unit, so that's going to be really beneficial for Escanor. So we're going to go ahead and click quick result right here. Now everybody is rainbow stars, but we really want to focus on Escanor's performance here. So we're able to win this fight. As you guys can see, we won the fight. Nobody in our team died. And looking at Escanor's performance, he's able to deal 170 billion damage, and he's also able to take 395 billion damage. So his performance is actually pretty good, considering how he's able to stay alive the entire time, and the fact that Flight Eric Mazino is also able to stay alive and deal a ton of damage is insane. And look at Elizabeth's performance. We're not going to talk about Elizabeth because this is not her showcase, but she's an insane unit overall. So this is by far the best team for him because of blue element. And Blanc, I feel like Blanc is definitely a good unit because she's able to heal and also buff as well, which is really nice for Escanor. So I feel like this is his best in slot team for sure. But if you want to try other teams, I feel like putting him in purple team is really good as well. So I'm going to go ahead and replace Blanc, and let's go ahead and put in Kaseya. Let's put Kaseya up right here, and then let's put Joaquin down here, and then Gusting, yeah, Gusting in the bottom, and then I'm pretty sure Kun Aguero, he should be up here as well if I can actually find him. Okay, here he is. So this team is actually pretty good because Escanor, he's going to decrease the enemy's movement speed, which is going to allow Joaquin to do a ton of damage. And Escanor is also really good when it comes to grouping up enemies. He can basically make all the enemies group up together and make them stay in one spot, and this allows Joaquin, when he's going to do his special skill, he's just gonna one-shot everybody with his special skill. So I'm going to go ahead and click enter battle for you guys so you guys can actually see what I'm talking about. I feel like quick result is just going to show the result. I need to actually show you guys how they were able to come up with that result. So we're going to put this at 2x speed, and you guys can clearly see that Escanor is really good when it comes to grouping up enemies. So when Escanor dies, he's going to suck everybody up, and they're all going to be in the same area. So look at the Cruel Sun attack and look at their movement speed. You see their movement speed, and you see how slow they are. So just look at the whole team's survivability overall. Everyone is still alive. It's just insane. Like Escanor he's broken. This unit is absolutely broken. And look at that. We won. So looking at Escanor's performance, looking at, he has 175. He was able to take 179 billion damage, and he was also able to deal 251 billion damage as well. And wow, gusting is also really good with Escanor because gusting can heal a lot. And you guys can clearly see that Joaquin's damage increased because of Escanor, because Escanor is going to decrease the enemy's movement speed, which allows Joaquin to deal a ton of damage with his special skill because they're all in one area. So even though Escanor dies, he still benefits your team because he's going to group them up in one specific area. So if you're using units like Rachel, for example, not the collab unit Rachel, but the purple element unit Rachel, she can also be really good with Escanor because her special skill has like an AoE attack, and Escanor can pretty much group everybody up, and then when she does her special skill, she's going to nuke everybody. So overall, Escanor's performance is absolutely insane. Now, I also used him in trial area because I'm pretty sure today is blue element trial. So I tested him in blue element trial, and I'm going to show you guys some gameplay, and he's just absolutely insane overall. So overall, Escanor is an absolutely insane broken unit. He is literally by far the best tank in the game. Honestly, I'll say this. He is literally on Data Zahard's level or even higher than his level. So in my opinion, yeah, Escanor is indeed the best tank unit in the game, which is really good because we were in desperate need of a tank unit who can take a lot of damage and can also deal some pretty decent damage as well. So Escanor, I'm really going to give this guy a solid. If I were to put him on a tier list right now, he is definitely on that meta tier list. He's on that meta tier because he's just absolutely broken, especially if you have Blanc. If you have Blanc, she works perfectly with Escanor because she's able to heal, and she can also buff Escanor's attack as well if his HP is below a certain percentage. So overall, yeah, Escanor, cracked unit. I definitely recommend you guys to 100% invest in this unit for like the collaboration event. Like I said, if you don't have him at 3 blue stars, you definitely want him to at least have 3 blue stars so that he can take reduced damage, so that he can reduce the amount of damage he takes against green element units, which is going to increase his survivability. But yeah, overall, Escanor, really good unit. And the fact that for the collaboration event, it's pretty easy to get SSR plus characters for collab events in a game. For example, Rachel, I was able to get her to 2 red stars, so you can do the same thing for Escanor as well because the rates for collaboration is really generous. So you definitely want to take that opportunity to pretty much get a lot of copies of Escanor, because maybe you can like if you end up reaching max rainbow stars with Escanor, your account progression is just going to boost because this guy is absolutely going to carry. His survivability is broken. He's just immortal, and like the fact that he has invincibility in his kit, he has movement speed decrease, he has insane damage output. Like, he's just a crazy unit overall. So Escanor, definitely a meta unit, and you definitely want to put him in a blue element team. But if you don't even have blue element team, he can pretty much work in every single team comp in this game. He can work in a purple team, he can work in green element team. He's basically a universal unit. He can work in any single team because he's a tank unit. So yeah, Escanor, amazing unit. I'm really satisfied the fact that they made him good, because Escanor, he's literally a badass in 7 Deadly Sin. So I'm actually glad the fact that they actually made him a really really good unit. So overall, you should definitely go for Escanor. But that's pretty much the video I have for you guys today. I hope you all enjoyed this review. Make sure you guys hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't. I'd really appreciate it, and I'll be catching you guys on next one. Peace.